In accordance with the Children's Online Privacy discretion is advised. Hey everybody, Dranking Mark here, and welcome back to Let's Play Shadowrun Hong Kong. Last we left off, we talked with our teammates, learned a bit more about them, and also Gabe has left. Actually, she hasn't really left, she's like right over here. But before we go ahead and talk with her, we gotta go ahead and talk with everyone else. Sorry, Gabe, but I gotta at least talk with our friends first, especially Crafty. Especially after hearing that story about the Yama Kings. Crafty? Back so soon? Tell me what you need and I'll see what I can do. So what's the latest? The latest? She walks over to a glass table and starts tossing books off of it. As she dips through them, you realize the table is not actually a table, but a glass display case full of dried medicinal ingredients. Crafter draws a notebook from the pile. It's a binding unraveling. The page is holding on for dear life. Here we go. This one's loaded. The suspense is killing me. Got a couple of big finds. Mom's notes are a mess, so I boiled them down to the most important information. An exorcism of the Yama Kings. Where do you want to start? Yama Kings. Crafty turns a page marked with a red sticky note. She looks up at you. Tell me, how much you know about the Yama Kings? I've run across some stories about them in my own research, mostly thanks to Isabel. Personally, I've only heard about the Yama Kings in fables and myths, things to scare children to sleep, to inspire awe. As you can guess, intimate knowledge about imaginary beings is largely non-existent. And here, she taps the page, we found the demons of the walled city. Through my mother's excursions into the slum, she came to learn that its recipients had their own unique Yama Kings, different from the traditional ones. The people there are segregated from the rest of Hong Kong. Over time, they came to believe that their home was possessed by local demons. Makes sense, considering the place's penchant for crime and disaster. Yeah, I'll buy that. But do the Yama Kings have their names? They're Lam Vi, Fu Mang, and Quan Ya. Each Yama King is associated with a negative energy of which they feed. Lam Vi feeds from cowards, Fu Mang from the guilty, and Queen Ya slaves. Oof. Unfortunately, my mother's handwriting declined with her sanity. She rubs her forehead in frustration. She has a lot of details in here about these local Yama Kings, but I can only make out bits and parts. There's a list. Something here about her mouth twists sideways and her eyes squint, straining to read the notes. Rules? Maybe laws of some sort? The thing that stood out to me is here. She pops a finger onto the page. It's about the negotiations. Luncheons? No, that part can't be right. Anyway, it says the Yama Kings, or their rules or laws, must adhere to the terms of a deal. And there's something else, but... She sighs and flips the paper onto the counter. Nope, sorry, can't read anything past that. You know, it's strange to me that Mom found these mythical beings significant enough to mention in her documents. It makes me wonder if she thought that they were real or connected to the curse that she believed in. A thump, and Crafty closes the notebook. She casually tosses it back onto the display case. It's not the best lead, but I think it's a step in the right direction. Tell me about the exorcism. Oh, wait! I think we actually already did this discussion already. Yeah, we already did this. I apologize in advance. Just... Yeah, we already witnessed, yeah, we already saw this. Hang on, let me reload the save again. I think there was supposed to be something new. Because most of the discussions we already spoke with about, but this one was supposed to be new. My bad. Let me reload this. Normally I should not be doing this, but I'm running out of options here. I want to try getting the best ending. I remember it involves talking with Isabel, talking with Crafty, and then learning the phrase to that we used to say to Raymond. I know I've done this before. I actually beat this game like twice. The first time I only got like the good ending, but then I got the best ending after the second try when I realized I had to talk to Crafty. Hey, a shifting amalgamation of old boats, tar-stained docks, and repurposed warehouses, all lashed and bolted together in a unified whole. It's the last bastion of civilization before descending into the hellish tenement of the Kulon Walled City, the closest thing that you've got to a home. And its neon lights and strobing hollow signs are a welcome sight. Let's try this again. Sorry I had to reboot that one, but needed to. So what have I been doing this week? Well, I finally got me a therapy session to take care of this Thursday. The jump. In case if you guys have found out anything. Here it is. Think you could send me a copy? She looks around the book covered shop as soon as I find a terminal. Thanks, Crafty. You're welcome. Expect them soon. Let's get back to it. Okay, so now we have the option of basically getting the notes from Crafty now. That's gonna hit tonight. So I apologize if the internet's a bit crappy right now. From Crafty to me. Hey Sangjan, you asked for, but before you dive in, a heads up. There's a complete transcription of that list from my mother's journal. As in, there's the thoughts and ramblings of an insane woman. It's not an easy read. Another dream. This time it was a near figure, a shadow, a wraith, faceless. I heard its voice, though it did not speak, and when I awoke, I was inside my home, though I had been in the city just moments before. Where am I? A weight dropped into me. I felt the words of the wraith in my skin, on the tips of my hair. I saw its mouth in my mind's eye, rows and rows and rows of lies. Morning. My hand was to the paper before I even knew what I was writing. It wrote the words, these words. They cannot lie. I added it to my list. Evening. Was it a king I saw? Was I really there? Was I in the city? I'm sure of it. How did I end up here? Was I carried back? My list is growing. Soon with this knowledge, I will stop the kings. A step forward is a step backward. A step forward is a step backward is a step forward. Each wraith has a name, a true name, and a false name. Knowing their true name is knowing their weakness. To call them on their lies is to make yourself invincible. They will still try to eat you. They fear the feathers of unborn chicks. Kings must be one or the other. That is, of the negative world, or positive. A positive doesn't necessarily mean them good, nor negative makes them bad. They simply are. Once a deal is brokered, it cannot be unmade. Kings and the planets are closely connected. When nearest the sun, their power wanes. When farthest, it grows. There is only one wraith. There is only one wraith. There may be two wraiths, but there is most certainly only one wraith. They must follow the laws of the universe, rules set in motion long ago. Should they concede defeat, all is lost to them. Kings are the rulers of us all. They take from us their lifeblood, and with it parts of our souls. Do not give them what they seek, and you will be their match. They cannot lie. Morning. I made breakfast. It fell on the floor in the shape of my death. Another truth revealed to me. I added it to my list. It's all or nothing. They are all liars. Another dream. It was in white space. I could taste the color as if it were air. This time no voice, just rows and rows and rows, and rows and rows and rows and rows and rows and rows. A mess, I know. There's not a whole lot of significant material other than what I already picked out, but even that is contracted within Mother's notes. Everything should be taken with a grain of salt. Meantime, I'll keep looking into it. Good luck on your end. Crafty. Where's the first unread message? I don't see anything. So they can't lie, and any deal that they make, they forfeit it. So if there's any counter offer we give to them, they would forfeit their right by accepting the counter. Gonna keep an eye on that. As you approach Shen's boat, you spot a number of children peeking out peeking out of the below decks area. They're dressed in ratty clothing with stained and tattered shirts. All the same, they look well fed and healthy, albeit a bit grimy. As soon as they spot you, they disappear into the below decks. Shen nods to you before calling out to the depths of the boat. Make sure the bilge pump is reconnected after you re-oil it. I don't want to slowly sink into the bottom of the river because you decide to cut corners. There's no response from below. Shen simply chuckles, turn around to face you. You're not the most skilled assistants, but I like being able to keep them fed. What can I do for you? Where'd you find the kids? I didn't. They found me. Shen shrugs and grins crookedly. They heard about the triad monk who'd feed the kids and will feed kids in exchange for odd jobs. After meeting the rest of my crew, I think they got a little bit infatuated. They think I don't hear it when they play at being Spider Shen and White Ming. But I do. That's cute. Yeah, I think so too. That's why I looked the other way. I don't want to embarrass them. I remember what it was like to be those kids. Nobody cares if you live or die, so I told myself that when I started to make it, I'd give back to the community. That's how the tribe started, you know. Self-protection and community service. If we can't help out our community, we're no better than the Megas. I hear that. I think the same could be said for the Yakuza. So show me what you got. Ooh. Mystic armor. Construct seems good. Here I was thinking you were a bad monk. Shen snorts. I am a bad monk. Sure, I meditate and say the sutras, but that whole vow of non-violence thing's the lesson I keep forgetting. What it comes down to, though, is that I don't care. I didn't become a monk because I was a true believer. I did it because it was a ticket out of the gutter. The skills I learned there, I can use to improve things here. Shen leans back against the cages, arms folded. So it's an altruism thing? You're at the edge of the walled city, Sangshan. That's the kind of hellhole that gets created when we let the Megas get their way. I had people moralize and preach at me about being a better person. To hell with that. Shen spits off the side of the boat, scowling. You know what happens to nice people who aren't rich? They get killed. They get kidnapped. They get taken advantage of and shoved into a dark hole they can't climb out of. Just because it saves a few pennies for somebody who already has wealth beyond measure. That hits a bit too close to home for me. So I figured the moral thing to do is put an iron spike right in every one of those bastards' foreheads. The corporate bigwigs, the corrupt cops, the slave traders. I have the skills to protect my friends. I'm not ashamed to use them. That's a fair point, honestly. Alright, let's see if we can pop in with this karma. Power? No. Charisma? Dodge? No. Might as well at least pop one into strength. That way we can slowly start maybe getting a new weapon. I don't know why we're doing it, but just feel like it. Human transient. The gibbering transient wheels to face you, his eyes bulging out of his skull. He's a young man, probably in his late 30s, but his hair has gone bone white. He reaches towards you with hands hooked into claws, and his entire body begins to tremble. You've seen them. I know it. I can smell it on you. He reaches his hands to his face and claws at his cheeks, his fingernails digging into his flesh. The devils. The ones that are coming again. The runt that leads the pack. Another transient glances over at you. He got into town yesterday. Came in on the same boat that we did. Seemed normal enough at the time, but now he's stark raving mad. I am not mad! His voice raises into a scream. I've seen them! They're coming! They're on their way here now! You want my advice? You get out of Heioi. Run as far from the walled city as you can. It's too late to run. They've seen me. His bulging eyes dart from you to the others on the street. Spittle flies from his mouth as he speaks. They're right behind me. Always behind me, driving me like cattle, breathing down my neck. I can smell the stink of their breath. I know what you're talking about. I felt them in my nightmares too. He nods, sobbing. Tears run the rivulets into the gashes that he tore in his cheeks. The things that I've seen, they're coming. They're all coming, all clawing at the gate. She is already slipping through. He seizes up mid-sentence. His eyes roll back into his head and he falls into the pavement. When he hits the ground, he doesn't get up. He isn't breathing. I think he's dead. Check the man's pulse. You kneel and press your fingers to the fallen man's neck. Nothing. The transient stares down at the fallen man's body, her brow furrowed. To hell with this place. I'm getting out of here. I know that it's none of my business, but you should do the same. Not me. I have business to attend to. She shrugs. Your call. Best of luck. So it looks like the Yama Kings are getting stronger. And whoever the heck that one was, that dream we had, it definitely feels like there's something up. There's a female that basically just took over. Frederick. Freddy looks sullen at the club's front entrance, and sullen on the young troll takes the form of careless indifference for the force he uses to pat down and propel forward the patrons entering the club. Welcome to Club 88. No killing, no fighting, no sex trade. You haven't suffered a psychotic break, have you? Break? I'd love to break everything around here, and everyone. What does it matter? Things might be better if I drove everyone off and shut down this place. Can't be forced to stay a bouncer if there are no bumps to bounce, right? And I might just force the rest of them to take a hard look in the mirror. My mom could stop worrying about bills and inventories and all that crap. Callum could finally get out of here and save his own skin, and my boss could go back to doing what he was born to do. Change his mind about me doing it too. What's the deal with Callum? What, you haven't figured it out? Right? He doesn't belong here any more than I do, but for different reasons. Callum's not hard enough to survive in a place like this. If this city doesn't kill him one night, him drinking away his worries probably. He'd rather see us both waste away here. You finally found out about your plans? Yeah. He heard me talking to someone about how I could link up with the Hell Thunder crew. He got real mad, dragged me aside like he was trying to pull my damn arm off. Thought we might come to blows. It would be the first time since I was a kid, and I could probably kill him now, if I'm not careful. But he just wanted to yell at me, so much the better for his health. He told me I was living in a fantasy land. He told me I wasn't cut out for the life I was looking to lead. He said that it would get me killed. Ha. Worst part, he asked me why I can't be more like my brother, to show how little he knows about us. Callum isn't even cut out for the cozy life we have here in the club. I'll leave you be. We better go and talk with these guys. Henry Ka Fai paces a rut into the warm floor of Club 88. He wrings his hand, looking every bit like one trying desperately to hold onto something but failing in every attempt. He is oblivious to everything around him. Henry, you still with us? Huh? Oh, what? Oh, sorry. Didn't see you there. I was just thinking. What about? Lots of things. The past, the here and now, what is and what might have been. Think about how many sailors drown every year, and how I never once came close. Think about how it might have been for Ermine if I had. Lots of things been playing on my mind lately. Last time you mentioned an incident. Actually, how are things between you and Ermine? Not great, to be honest. It's true what the voice of my dreams have been saying. Ermine doesn't need me. I'm useless around here. Better that I just stay out of her way, but it's more than that. We've had our share of problems over the years. My being absent for long stretches, her being left alone, fending for herself while I was away. It wasn't easy for her. And I think that she sometimes sought comfort elsewhere. I don't know who, and I don't know exactly when, but I can't help thinking it. I look at Callum sometimes. I'll always love him, but I'll also always wonder. It'd be hardly the worst thing that ever happened to me, but even so. Last time you mentioned an incident. Care to speak about it? Truth is, I wanted to talk about it. Needed to talk about it for a long time. I was a first mate by then, on a big rescue and salvage tug. We were steaming out into the Pacific, down towards Saipan. A big container ship had lost power and was drifting. When we were 2 days out from Hong Kong, we picked up a distress signal. Our captain told us to ignore it, quoted some Wuxing corporate gibberish and ordered our rigger to change course to avoid it. Truth is, we all knew why. That container ship was probably losing Wu Jing a million yuan in lost revenues for every hour it drifted. I don't know why I did it, but I refused. Maybe it was on account of being a family man. Maybe I was just in a mood, but I couldn't leave those people behind. I demanded that the captain send us to assist. And when he didn't, I knocked him out. Well, everyone followed me. When we reached the signal, we found a small passenger ship, well away from its regular route. No response to hail, so I went aboard with a small group. What we found was a horror show. Men, women, and children brutally butchered, but not outright killed. Some had died from their injuries, yes, but most were just missing an arm, a leg, or a foot. They wouldn't have lasted much longer, but they could have been saved. And that's when we realized it was a trap. The time it would have taken us to stabilize and move those people would have given the ones responsible the chance they needed to take our boat. They'd meant to lure in a bigger ship. I grabbed my guys who got out of there, at full steam, and left those people to die. They knew it. As we were going, their eyes had haunted me ever since. So that was the end of my career. Wu Jing let me go nice and quiet with the hush package. The law of the sea still applies. You gotta help ships in distress and when you can. Wu Jing didn't want anyone to know the captain of their rescue tugboat had tried to violate that. Ermine thinks I retired from the boys and her. She wouldn't be able to look me in the eye if she knew the truth. Oh, leave you be, Henry. Jesus. So that's what Henry's so worried about. Callan has calmed greatly since last time. He has once again oscillated into his more somber brooding mode. Looks almost professional as he conducts a little business with some rail-thin gangers aching for a fix. Back again, I see. What's it about this place? The music, the sweaty bodies, or is it a messed up family that keeps bringing you back? I like to keep tabs on people. Not sure the people around here are worth keeping tabs on. Well, if you can keep it in the down low, I got news I'm down to share with somebody. You run our types are good with secrets, right? Let's hear it. So I snuck up behind my mother's back. I can't believe those words are coming out of my mouth. No grown man should have to ever say that. That's what I had to do. So that's what I did. I finally met this guy who wants to be my benefactor. His name is Matthew Tai. He's a human guy. He rolled up on the dock in a speedboat with guards and everything. Real slick dude. Like, classy. Powerful classy. He asked me to call him Matt. Isn't that great? I hopped in and off we went. We had dinner together. It was a little strange, but I'm glad I went. Things he told me. What kind of things? For one, he said he remembers my mother. Apparently he knew her well, in fact. In fact, he said he knew her better than anyone back in Baihu. And that's partially how he came to know of me, I guess. But the way he talked about my mother, he was like, I don't know, there was something between them. He had this wistful look on his face and a smirk when he said her name. Probably the same kind of look on my face right now, like he was keeping a wonderful secret. I don't remember my father ever looking that way with my mother. Got me wondering about a lot of things. How was it weird? It got weird at the end. Like, there was more that he wanted to say, but he couldn't. Maybe he didn't want to get my hopes up too high, in case the whole arrangement didn't pan out. Not sure. The strangest part by far, was when his security detail bust our table and backed everything we had touched. Glasses, plates, utensils, napkins. Mr. Tai, Matt, said it was a standard precaution for men in his position. Even the smallest genetic sample could be used to subvert biometric security systems. It could be used in ritual magic. I never really thought about it before, but these are just the kinds of things I think I could learn from this guy. I'll leave you be. We gotta talk to Ermine about this. I got a bad feeling about this dude. Ermine? The dread creeping through Haoi has pervaded even to the included Furia of Club 88. Ermine herself wasn't immune, looking to be caught between the need for rest and the inability to find peace necessary for it. Not a good time, Sengshan. That's usually when I get involved. I'm not asking you to get involved, but something is wrong with these people, and me. I don't know about the rest of them, but I'm dead on my feet. Slept a solid 6 hours, but it was hardly restful sleep. Bad dreams? Like none I've ever had before. Vivid. More real than you standing here, and the memory refuses to leave me. I was 20 years younger, young, absolutely at home in my own skin, and happy happier than I remember ever being, positively glowing. There was a man with me. It was Henry, but not the Henry I knew. This was Henry as he might have been if he had never goblinized. Handsome, well-dressed, perfectly human. When he smiled, there were too many teeth, and I knew it was a lie. Then I woke up clutching my stomach, feeling for bite marks that weren't there. I haven't been able to shake the image of that smile all day. Those teeth, they wanted to devour me and everything I hold dear. I think I understand where she's getting at. Also, hey viewer, still worrying about Callum in that suit? I tried to put that period of my life behind me. I tried to forget what had happened, to move past it. I had to. Or else it would have destroyed our family just as it was beginning. Some truths are best left buried. I can live with the shame. It was my own stupid mistake, but it should have ended there. The past should have stayed in the past. What had happened? But this man will not be denied. He will lure Callum with promises of fortune, power, prestige. He will offer him things I never could, just as he wanted with me. Callum feels alone here, just as I did when Henry was away at sea. I'll kill this man before I let him take my boy from me. I don't care who he is or what right he might claim. I suppose this is why I'm not sleeping well. The dreams. I'll leave you be. So, from what I'm gathering, it seems Ermine must have had a relationship with this guy that might be Callum's biological father. It might have gone intimate, and he might be Callum's biological father. Eos. A red-headed elf is hunched over her table, her eyes firmly locked on this disassembled micro-drone that she had spread out across it. A name tag on her jumpsuit's collar says Eos in bold letters. After a few moments, she sighs heavily and mutters under her breath. Oh, come on, don't tell me I lost the EMS transducer. Eos frantically begins searching the area around the table, methodically shifting through cigarette butts, stale gum, and orange peels. Orange peels? She squeals with excitement when she finds a small super kit. Puts it gingerly in one of her pockets. Toward the table, she spread through a quick glance. I think anyone else fell off the table, but I won't know like this back together. Do drone repair? No, but the guy who lives next door to me is doing some kind of heavy-duty electrical work, and it's filling my apartment with static electricity. Don't want to risk frying this little guy's guts. She leans over, peering closely at some particular part. Ah, crap. This is gonna take more work than I thought. A long amount of time. Sweeping the drone pieces up into a pile with her hand, she scoops them into one of her jumpsuit's many pockets. She turns to face you, giving you her full attention. You're kindly hired help, aren't you? Your name's Eos. Yeah, I gathered from the name tag. The elf flicks a nail against the tag, grinning crookedly. Some jackass at the public laundromat keeps trying to walk off with my suit, so I've been writing my name on things. Makes me feel like a bit like a kid, but I don't have to keep buying new armor, at least. Nice to meet you. Glad you get your name. It's a lot nicer than that foreigner, which seems to be what most of the locals call you. She pulls out a business card made of stamped sheet metal and puts it on the table. We're in the same line of work, you know. If you ever need a rigger, look me up. Very affordable rates, and I guarantee results. Why'd you become a rigger? I've always loved cars. Old ones, new ones, even the beaters that are falling apart and you have to hold together with baling wire and chewing gum. I like the drones too, but my first love was a 2034 Alfa Romero Farinata. Drove that thing until its wheels fell off. Eos grins quickly, propping her chin up on the one fist. Did some work with the Atlanta film industry at first as a stunt driver. That paid for my first vehicle control rig. It also got me into drone rigging, since smaller projects usually need camera riggers for aerial shots. Fun times, but the pay in the cast isn't like it is in Hollywood. It's all small scale stuff. Film work's a long way from being a Shadowrunner. Why'd you end up leaving the business? Money. Always the money. My mom got sick and we couldn't afford the bills. Turns out that in the shadows, people always need a good driver. Especially ones who also have some high altitude patrol drones that they're packing guns. I started to make a name for myself. Took some jobs for the Comanche Mafia, smuggling things in and out of the Pueblo Corporate Council. Io spreads her arms helplessly, grinning. Here I am. Once I got a taste for the adrenaline, I never looked back. Too much of a rush out here on the edge. How'd you get your street name? Honestly, it's my same disposition. I'm not even kidding. The elf gives to herself for a moment, head falling back as she stares toward the ceiling. I had this friend in Vegas, a real rich old money type from Dubrovnik. He'd fallen on hard times, mostly because he couldn't pay collecting cards for shit. Great picture though, because everybody loved him. He's the one who gave it to me. Eos, he said. He said to me, your new street name should be Eos, because whenever you show up, it's like it's the breaking dawn in my office. Kitron's bees out of their hives, I swear to God. Last I heard, he finally got enough money to pay his debts and get the hell back to Europe. Sure hope he did. I like to imagine him sitting on the Adriatic, sipping a Negroni and reading a spy novel. I think it's an alcohol brand. I should have probably just said alcohol or whiskey. You have a preferred kind of job? Eos gets a smile that spreads from ear to ear, and she leans over to whisper in a conspiratorial tone. Heist. Anytime to get in under a ticking clock, racing against time to get away in a cloud of burning rubber, that's where it's after me. One of the best jobs I ever had was a run on a branch of Frankfurter buried in Nietzsche. The cops were hot on our ass as soon as we got out of the vault, because the deck rat had been dumped in from the system before we could squash the alarm. So we rush outside, right, and our getaway car is a Skoda RK3 that I modded up with a supercharger and a kinetic engine recovery system. Didn't look like much, but man, that car could haul. We burned through those French streets like we were right out of an old Frankenheimer movie. Glorious getaway. Anywhere that you can walk away from is a good one. You said it, and the aftermath, glorious. 2 weeks lounging on the beaches in Corfu, eating fresh perch you caught right on the rocks. Revion always wanted to poach it, but come on, you gotta grill fish that fresh. Later, Eos. Tapping a finger to her brow, Eos grins. See ya, don't be afraid to call. Well, that's definitely a lot of fun. Chrome Alley. Ambrose lies limp in his wheelchair while his spider drone tinkers delicately on a huge bionic lower leg, which appears to be attached to a dismembered troll thigh. Ambrose reanimates as you draw near. Sejan, I'm doing some delicate work here. Just reaching a good point to pause, actually. Okay, what's up? What are you doing? Is that someone's leg? It will be. It's a vat-grown biological upper on a cybernetic lower. I'm merging the two together. It's going to give this poor guy the upper leg he wants back with the lower leg he needs. His voice is hushed. You interested, huh? Okay, check this out. I'll be back. Ambrose goes limp, and a half-dozen robotic arms suddenly pulse in a bale-like surge of activity, working on the leg, bristling with needles, scalpels, forceps, micro-soliders, glue, and various other tools. For several minutes, there's no sound but quiet clicking and the hum of machinery. When the work is complete, the slender robotic arm draws back. They hover near the ceiling, around the operating area, like giant attentive stick bugs. Ambrose's eyes flutter back open. He continues talking, hardly skipping a beat. This guy works in the tunnels with his feet in sewage all day. He's got some kind of flesh-eating trench rot. Ew! It went right up his leg. Nearly killed him. They had to amputate it at the hip. I'm giving him his upper leg back, but using a chrome lower leg so it won't happen again. That must cost a lot for a sewer worker. Yeah, it would. That's why I'm not charging him. Ambrose shrugs as if suddenly embarrassed. Someone else grew the meat leg. I can't do that. I have this old prosthetic lying around already. It's a beater, but it'll last for years if he takes care of it. Hey, so what can I do for you? Well, first, show me your wares. Nickel. Let me just pop this and this. Maybe an advanced med kit. There we go. Now we're set. So, what happened to Karen? She betrayed me. Ambrose folds his one arm tersely across his chest and scowls. She left me here. He nods toward a small framed picture over his impressive home-built computer. That's Karen. Let's take the picture. The picture is of a serious-looking Filipino woman with in a black tank top. Her neck, shoulders, and arms are chiseled with lean muscle and spotted with tattoos. She looks vaguely annoyed at the camera. Semper Fidelis is visible in the Gothic script tattooed across her chest. A trans-Catholic rosary hangs on the picture, a crucifix with a delicate Kali yantra overlaying the center. In the picture, the rosary is visible around the woman's neck. Karen quit Shadowrunning too. Supposedly, she made a full recovery. She started delivering for smugglers. She was my main conduit for drugs and cyber. Ambrose shakes his head gently. She just stopped caring about anything. Maybe it was the brain injury, but I don't think so. I think everything she's done started catching up to her. You can see it in her eyes. Take your time, I'm listening. Ambrose rubs his mouth with the remainder of his hand. He pauses. She couldn't sleep. She wouldn't take meds for it. I think she didn't want to get better. One day she was here. We were behind the current. I went out front to talk to someone. Ambrose presses one of his remaining fingers into the side of his neck. She took her butterfly knife and set the point right here. She pushed the blade right through and out along her trachea, sliced through everything outside of that, severed her own carotid artery, just like she was removing a sentry. That was it. Done. Ambrose stops. He holds his head over his mouth for a long moment. When he continues, his voice is thick. She did it right there on the operating table. There wasn't even a thump. That was Karen. Efficient, ruthless, considerate, in a weird way. Could never live by her own moral commandments. Couldn't ever ask for what she needed. Ambrose crosses himself. Requiescat cum dies, Karen Santos. Kali od Mater Magna om Jesu Christi Swami Vostir. He gives you a sidelong glance. I'm not trans-Catholic. Hell, I'm not into religion at all, but I try to honor her in that way. Complete the prayer for the dead and dying. Ambrose solemnly bows his head as you recite a string of words in Sanskrit and Latin, invoking Karen to rejoin the trans-Catholic concept of universal oneness, the Atma Brahma of the Holy Ghost. Ambrose joins you in the final recitation. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Amen. His eyes are shining when he looks back at you. Thanks, Sangshan. I never learned it in full, even though she said it over me every day when I was all messed up. Ambrose looks silently at Karen's picture. Eventually he turns back to you. Whipshot's dead, my old hood in Chicago is in the containment zone, and Karen, well, she was my best friend, ever. I'm the last man standing. So here I am. I think I survived for a reason, so I can make other people's lives better. That's what I'm trying to do. Life is what we make it, right? Yeah, Ambrose. Life is what we make it. Here. You want a drink? We should have a drink. A robotic arm flings open a cabinet, clatters inside of it, and swings across the room, clutching a diamond sapphire blue bottle. This is Lampanog. It's a Filipino coconut vodka. Have a shot with me? Sure, I'll have one. The robotic arm pours 2 shots. It swings one over to you. Ambrose gingerly takes the other in his ruined hand and holds it up. To fallen friends. To fallen friends. You swallow the shots together. The strong raisin-flavored liquor burns going down. Ambrose looks around in silence, then his gaze settles on you, lonely. I used to be a real piece of work, Sangshan. When I got busted up for the first time in my life, I had to rely on other people. Broke, hunted, and close to death. Not so different from how you showed up, except for the death part. Someone here owed Karen a favor. People in Haoi took care of us. Now I think if I did so much harm in my past life, how much healing can I do in this one? Ambrose sighs and clutches his shot glass against his chest like a religious talisman. He looks thoughtfully at you. That's more than I've told anyone in a long time. It does the heart good. Sangshan, thanks. Well, Proctor's life is busy. Better wrap this up. Agreed. Well, back to business then. Bye, Ambrose. Time for me to go. Cheers, Sangshan. Talk to you later. Examine the wall. The mess of notes, mementos, photos, and paperwork on the wall behind the computer reflects the daily work of Ambrose's life and hints at the story he's told you. A framed photo shows what must have been Ambrose as a young man back in the Chicago days, standing proudly in front of a vintage Ford Mustang. Examine the picture of Ambrose on the Mustang. It looks like a young Ambrose. It's hard to tell for sure with all his scarring and cosmetic reconstruction now. The young man definitely has Ambrose's big cheesy grin. He can't be more than 25 years old, but already has a thick handlebar mustache. Ah, man. We could have actually checked things out. Examine the photos. The photos, news clippings, and mementos posted around the clinic are visibly consistent with Ambrose's story. Through the general decorations, you can trace his journey. A bunch of aging Chicago photographs, Seattle, the ocean for what looks like a container ship, Osaka, Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong, the residence of Aoi plastered over everything else. Let's examine the Chicago ones. Many are photos of Chicago landmarks and of street races. Interspersed with them are obviously personal photos of Caucasian and African American metahumans at a bar in front of a fountain, working on a car, and so on. A young man who must be Ambrose appears in a few of them, but no other person is repeated in the photographs. Young Ambrose doesn't appear in any of the photos with recognizable landmarks. Look through the general decorations. Most of the big pictures are of old Chicago or classic motorhead Americana. 20th century gas stations, desert highways, Devil's Tower, motorcycle gangs. Closer inspection reveals a section full of personal photos, recording what may have been Ambrose's trip from Chicago through the Western UCAS, the COA Nation, and the Salish Sheed Council to Seattle. Ah, dang it, Rocky! Did you just fart? I apologize. I am literally in the stink of dog fart right now. Why does he have to be in my room? There's even a photo of the ruins of Grand Coulee Dam. Once, it was the largest power station in the old USA. Now it's breached. The Columbia River roars through its jagged concrete throat, wild and cataclysmic. Turn your attention to the room and stop looking. Man, that story is sad for Ambrose. But honestly, this week, yeah, like I said, finally got me a therapy session this Thursday. There's also the whole Game Awards thing that dropped a few days ago. Was surprised about the sequels to Jet Set Radio and stuff. The God of War Ragnarok thing coming out. Definitely want to try it. Captain Jomo. Wait. Hang on, what do we... No. Yeah, we gotta find that ship. Where's the ship? Definitely gonna see if we can look for one. I think it should be around here somewhere, honestly. Maybe it's over by Delilah Matthew? I'll definitely see if I can find it somewhere, but should be around here, maybe? Here? Pick up. We're definitely gonna help out Gavit. I know Captain Jomo could probably take us there, but I gotta figure out where the heck Gavit is. It's not there. It's nowhere near there. Maybe it's over here. Yeah, I definitely feel like it might be over there. But I'll definitely try and I'll definitely look into it and see if we can help out Gopit. After that, we'll go ahead and take care of the rest. If you like what you all saw, leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon to stay notified, and I'll see all of you next time. Laters.